Week 27 kicks off with the end of June, and as we've been doing this year, that means that we get a 30-second summary of the month of June with 1 second every day. Well, July starts off with Alex's birthday, turning 19 this year. We'd planned on Alex driving down to spend a couple days with us, but as he got on the road, he got a flashing check engine light. So instead of him driving down to see us, we drove up to see him. Fortunately, the drive to Vail and Edwards is really nice. Funny story from the drive up, we got caught behind a septic service truck for a little bit of the stretch. Which isn't particularly humorous until we actually hit traffic. And this, friends, is why you want to have a dash cam. While we were in Vail, we grabbed a bite to eat, and then we walked around the town a little bit to take in the scenery, but also so that we could find the hive where Alex is working. Then all four of us jumped back in the car and we took the trek back down the hill. Finally, we were mostly back onto the original plan, because when Alex got to Castle Rock, the plan was to meet him over at Gelato and Company.
Paper! How excited. The scrapers.
Yeah. Is that what you wanted?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It is.
Woohoo!
What I am doing.
Thermometer.
More paper.
More paper. Or knives.
Woohoo! So do you need new knives?
I want to get nice knives.
Nicer than the ones that you got?
There are knives that I'm thinking about that are like $500 a pop, but
Okay.
have like lifetime warranty and like
Yeah.
free sharpening services.
Yeah.
So that's what my thought is. Next.
I think I can train it.
Dice.
Oh, I wanted to get you some. Woohoo! That's why I asked what your favorite colors were. Do you like them? Yay! Let's go.
Priorities.
Ziploc! How exciting. Sharpies. Caramel. We also have nice Monkey paper.
Monkey paper. Good. Because you're a monkey.
Thank you.
Then off to Buffalo Wild Wings for a birthday dinner. Alex loves to go to B-dubs with Mom. Trina and I not so much, but it was a really good family time. Probably the second most decent rain we've had this year. Luckily it's not 2.5 inches, but it's a good rain. While both kids were home, we also watched a D20 show on Dropout called Misfits Magic. It was a shorter season, so we could fit it into our few days. Then on Wednesday, it was back up to the mountains so Alex could drop off his car at the mechanic and get to work on time. And then it was a drive back home again.
Well, I was super excited to get Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands by Heather Fawcett, the second in this series. It wasn't that long ago that I read the first in this series, and I really liked it. It's adult fiction, and just a lot of information about fairies and the fae. I loved Emily's character and how she's grown, and also is still a little bit curmudgeonly. And I have to say that I wanted to see a little bit more of her relationship with Wendell, and it didn't progress quite the way I thought it was going to, but I really enjoyed the story. It was engaging. I read it pretty quickly, and so if you like stories about the fae, you like some interesting characters, I would definitely recommend the Emily Wilde series. So far, so good.
The town of Castle Rock's fireworks show was back to traditional fireworks. Last year they had a drone show that could only really be seen from a single park in town, so it was nice to drive over to the school and see a full show.
Well, I read Debating Darcy by Sayantani DasGupta. Hope I got that right. And it is it's a contemporary romance, young adult, and also it's Pride and Prejudice. And I've read a lot of just homages to Pride and Prejudice over the years, and I wanted to like this one more than I did. I didn't hate it. I read it pretty quickly. I liked some parts of it. It was definitely about speech and debate. It was about the public school kids just dealing with, the differences between what they have and what the private school kids have, which of course was dear to my heart. And I just felt like the cheese was just a little bit too stinky for me. I do love cheesy connections to the original source, but some of the quotes were a little much and some of the names were a little much. I did maybe get a little frustrated when there were 3 dogs named after different characters in Pride and Prejudice that didn't make sense at all. But if you're looking for something light and fun, or you're a speech and debate nerd and you want to check this out, it wasn't horrible. I think I've seen it done better.
Alright, I am 90% done with my game controller project. I have 4 game controllers here that are designed to be set up mostly like the original arcade game. This one here would be how Space Invaders was laid out. This one is Defender. This one is a game that was called Crazy Climber. And this one was a game called Kicks. So I have been reading as well, and I have been reading Infinite Powers by Steven Strogatz. Wow, just a really good book, nonfiction. And the premise behind the book is basically how calculus spurred the Renaissance and the Age of Enlightenment, and how so many of the things that exist in our world today exist because of calculus. That MRIs, GPS, the concepts of all these different things came from these discoveries. But the thing that I liked most about it is it wasn't just a math book, but it actually delved into the history and delved in a little bit more as to who these people were and who their character was. And like Newton, hey, Newton, he did great stuff. Apparently he was kind of a jerk, and he was the Sheldon Cooper of his day that thought he was smarter than everybody, and really didn't talk to his colleagues about any of the things that he was coming up with. He thought they weren't smart enough to understand. And so learning about who these people were and kind of how they interacted. Some other things, Descartes and Fermat knew each other and talked to each other and at least corresponded with each other. Never would have put those two together. And, just kind of how they changed a lot of stuff back in the algebra day to be the things that we know and teach in algebra classes. Geometry has been around for forever. It talks about, the people that put together geometry. But really taking mathematics from a historical perspective, but really saying that these people were the people that changed everything, and really impacting the way that the world works today by understanding calculus. And then the last few chapters talked about computer science and how the use of computers, and specifically AI, but I don't necessarily see those concepts, but starting to look at problems that aren't linear, problems like having three objects in orbit around each other. Is that possible? Currently, mathematics says that it's probably not possible, but because computers can do calculus now, maybe it would be possible in the future. There were many times that I had to step away from the book and let my brain process what was going on. There were many times that I fell asleep mid-paragraph because my brain was like, okay, we're shutting down now. So a great book, an interesting book, but definitely not a light read. But Infinite Powers, definitely recommend. One quick shout out from Saturday. We got to have lunch with Madi, who's one of our youth kids from 10 plus years ago. She's getting married, moving to New York for a while, so she wanted to hang out with us before she left. It was really great to see her again and wish her well.
I read Well, That Was Unexpected by Jessie Q. Sutanto. And there were definitely things that were unexpected about it. And one of the things was how fast I read it. I finished it in a day. This was the first in a series where I already read the second one, which threw things off a little bit. Maybe you could say it spoiled the ending for me, but these are contemporary romances, and so not so surprising how it's going to end anyway. But it was also set in Indonesia. It was an American girl who gets caught in a compromising situation, and her traditional Indo mom brings her to Indonesia so that she can just reconnect with her culture and hopefully not become a bad girl. The other character is George, and George is, the only male heir to a huge multi-billion-dollar empire, and he gets caught in a different kind of compromising situation, and is in trouble and doesn't have access to his electronics. Well, it turns out that the parents involved in these situations decide to find their kiddo a good match online and start catfishing for them. And so these two get set up on a date. Neither of them has really been, texting, calling with the other, but their parents have, and it's pretty entertaining. Definitely lifestyles of the rich and famous, so there's some interesting things there. I felt like I learned a lot of cool things about Indonesia, and so that was exciting too. I really enjoyed it. I thought it ended well. It would not be one that I would recommend for a young adult reader. It would need to be for someone a little bit more mature or an adult like me. Just because of some of the topics, but I really enjoyed it.